Hi.
Jade! Hey! Oh my god, the cat. Love.
We've just been chilling, so he's getting used to this spot.
How have you been?
Busy. I've just been surviving all of this nonsense going on, but then I'm I have work full time and I had to cancel all of my travel plans that I usually have. But then I just started traveling, just taking a 4-hour trip in Canada. I'm I spend way too much time in the States. There's a lot of places in Canada I could probably go.
Yeah, dude. We can't even cross the border.
I can't get, they won't let me across the border.
All right. Well, at least you've been surviving. I'm glad you've been doing well. It's been a while. All right. How long have you been creating art?
Honestly, I've just been creating art for as long as I can remember. I've always liked to mix colors, and I wasn't a big talker. I could never I want to explain what's in my head to you. I could that wasn't me as a kid necessarily. So I kind of I started drawing colors, wild pictures, anything I was thinking, I'd draw it on paper, and I think that was a way for me to kind of express myself where I wasn't able to with words. And then it just kind of snowballed where I really like this. And I kept going. When we'd have get-togethers with kids, I'd find a little spot to sit down and I'd sketch in my little sketchbook, which I'm pretty sure I still have buried somewhere in a stack of paper somewhere, and I'm a little scared to go through it.
I feel that.
But it's a memory. It's a starting point, and I would just it was great. It was just a really great outlet for me, and I've just loved it ever since and just kept going.
That's great, dude. I'm glad because you're really good at it.
Thank you.
So, do you have a specific medium that you like to use?
I would usually, because I like to test out a bunch of things. I would always dip my hand in new things like wood burning, and I think I tried pottery at one point, but I never ever made a pot. It would just kind of kept flattening. I'm you know what? This is a plate. This is a plate.
Yes, I can relate to that. The wheel is not fun.
And then I really I would just get pottery that was already made. I jumped to that and I just painted it, or I'd get little porcelain statues and I'd paint those. So I really started out with traditional because that's what I had, and I just wanted to try a bunch of things. So many things. I did mosaics and stained glass systems, put stained glass together at some point. None of it survived anything because it was all bad, but I tried.
Whatever.
Okay. But I think I really latched onto my papers and markers, and I really fed into that, and that was really good for me, and I just spent a lot of time with that. But then Christmas, my mother noticed when I was younger, and she got me this a digital tablet, this small little digital tablet that would plug into my computer, and it was a whole new world for me, that I could put my drawings right on the computer and draw it out with my little digital pen. It was so exciting to me at the time. I know for other people it was yeah, that's life, we just got another tablet, that's
right.
super cool.
Right.
But for me, it's I never this was something I never thought I'd be able to do as a little nugget, and I was so excited, and it kept going with that because I kept trying. I loved it so much, and then I think some people started to notice, and they would message me kind of to be hey, do you think that you could draw this for me? I'll give you money for this. And at that point I'm really?
Right.
You're gonna pay me to do it? Stop. So all I focused my time on. I was just all right, digital art. And that's all I did for a really long time. And then I think in the last couple of years, I've kind of been jumping back and forth between like traditional and digital. And it's they have like two different feelings for me. Like I feel like digital has more a pressure for me, and not necessarily bad pressure, but a pressure just to like do really well on that piece and make like everything accurate in the way I want it to be. And it's just like I notice every single line. And then for like my traditional, it's just something I do and I'm relaxed and I'm saying like slap the pencil on the paper and be like, yeah, you know what, that's right, that sounds good. And then this feels good to me. So yeah, that's what I kind of jump between right now.
Do you use like Illustrator and Photoshop and stuff like that?
And I know this is gonna sound so lazy, but I think I started out with Coral, some program called Coral, because it came with the tablet that I got when I was younger.
Okay.
And then, yeah, and then I jumped into Paint Tool Sci. I think an art friend of mine gave me a link for it, and they told me like, listen, you need to you need to upgrade. So I downloaded that, and I don't think I've used anything different, and not necessarily because I think it has everything that I'd want to use, but because I'm so busy now, or maybe it just feels like I'm so busy now that I don't feel like I have something new to fit my schedule to learn.
Right. And I know like Adobe is so tedious. I've tried doing it like so many times and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't.
Step by step, like just tell me what each one does at my pace, when I click it, when I do it. Like just tell me how to do it, and then I just want to like figure it out right away and not have to do the whole long process learning thing.
I feel it. Just too much time. I don't have time for that. So would you say that this is just a hobby, or do you want to find a potential career in it?
I think like I used to be 100% invested into making this my career. I put all of my time. Like sometimes I like wouldn't talk to people for like weeks. Like I'd just be by myself, focusing on this art, trying to perfect it, networking with other artists to get into art galleries and art cons. And I had the opportunity to, like, I had put so much time and effort into it, that I was given a seat at an art walk. I was asked to join an art con, and I was given the opportunity to get a space in just a small art gallery, like nothing big and fancy, right? But it was still big to me. I had all of it planned out. I really did. And it was on its way to being a career for me. But life happens, and you don't always have the opportunity to push responsibilities or things to the side that you wish you could ignore so that you could focus on your dream, right?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of like something's happened, and you have to put that aside to take care of those responsibilities or the people you love, or just to pay the bills. And so it just kind of, I could not my time in it like I wanted, so it kind of like dissipated, and everything I really worked hard toward kind of felt like it fell apart after I had to go and take care of those things. I was sad about it for a little bit, but I'm excited for the future, because I'm learning and experiencing new things all the time, or at least trying to. And maybe on one of those little adventures or journeys for me, I'll be able to set my art career back up once I have everything taken care of, responsibilities and all of that, and I can safely go back into that without worrying about things falling apart behind me. But if it doesn't happen, that's fine. Like I can still do art. It's no one ripped the pencil away from me. I'm still good to go.
Right. You are really good at it. Which I didn't know that you did like people wanted to pay you commissions for your money or for your art, geez. And like I didn't even know, like when I first met you, I didn't even know that you were an artist until I started following you on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff, and I would see it and I'm like, oh my god, she's like super good.
Thank you.
You are.
Thank you. Oh, that's so nice.
You are though. Like I know that like as the artist, you don't give yourself as much credit as you necessarily deserve.
Never.
It's always like that. So I get it. But so what inspires you to create? Or when do you find it the easiest?
I jump through these moods where like different things will inspire me at different times at what I'm feeling. But I think like one of the big things that really helped me like push me and motivate me is when I find like I spend a lot of time with my art friends. And I'm saying that because like they're so hyped up and excited and they want to show off their art and what they're doing new, what new medium they found or with this new technique that they learned. And that kind of like that in itself, like being a part of that, you get sucked into the energy of it and you're like, yeah, I like painting too. Yeah, I'm gonna go like, you know, slap some paint on something and we'll figure out where it goes from there. And then I'll just go because I have that motivation just kind of like fuels me forward. But I think like a topic that I really kind of go back to would be like space, the space aesthetic. And I would like say it's because for me, it's mixing the unfamiliar with what's familiar to you. Yeah. It's taking what's familiar to you, what's your normalized here in your everyday life, and you take it out into space where nothing, like Earth doesn't matter anymore, and you just mix these, like having those two differing forces side by side and like nothing with each other has always been like super appealing to me. And I'm just like kind of drawn to it in my own way. Where I'd find like the time that I'd find is most productive for myself would be nighttime. And I think that's for a lot of people because it's silent. It just feels like everything's at rest. And there's no noise, there's no responsibilities, there's no one asking, can I have snack, or when's the bills being paid, or I gotta go fix my car. None of that matters. Like at nighttime, it's silent, and your mind can just flow with whatever like energy and ideas and thoughts. That's all there is in the moment. That's all there is, and nothing else can invade that thought process. At least for me, that's how like I figure it. But yeah, like after 10 p.m., nothing else exists except the ideas in my head.
I agree. I completely agree. So, with that being said, who is your favorite artist?
I had to narrow it down quite a bit because I was thinking it over and I was like making a list. I'm like, ooh, then that one and that one. Oh, and that kind of like, no, I have to pick the ones that really like resonated with me. And I think like my number one would be Don Bluth. So like from the very beginning, from like a kid, because I watch his movies and they were so, and at the time I didn't even know that he made all of those movies that I would watch. But they were just like the expressions and like the topic itself. It was for a kid. I think some of them were kind of like tiptoeing on the edge of like, you know, compared to Sesame Street or something. This is kind of like pushing the envelope a little bit for kids in some areas where it got your excitement going, like, oh my gosh, is the mouse gonna get caught by the mean scientist man? We don't know. And that was just like, oh, I was on edge, and the art style always got me, and it just sucked me in every single time. And I grew up watching those movies, and it wasn't until later that I realized that he had done all those movies, so it just stood out really well to me. My other one, obviously, and I think it's like for a lot of people, would be Miyazaki. And I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm so sorry if I'm not. But I just like am drawn to the excitement he puts into the simple things. Like, there is life and color and adventure all around you, everywhere you look. And you don't have to go on some big, grand adventure and be the star of the show to have a good life and experience things in a bright and vibrant way. And I loved that. It was just something you could sit back and feel comfortable, like, it's all going to be okay. We're going to go through whatever issues we have to process, and or go through the happy times, and at the end of it all, we choose to make it okay or not, and to look back on that and just enjoy the process and what we saw through that. And I love that. I love that. And that helped me in a lot of ways, where I sit back, because I'm always like, I'm not doing enough. Like, I gotta do more. What else can I do? Oh, I didn't do that. And then watching that, like, yeah, you know what? A walk through the neighborhood is good for me. It is exciting. I did see something that I didn't see yesterday, and that's okay. We need all those little pieces in our life. And I think my last one artist, which would be a more recent choice for me, would be there's two of them. They're the creators of Tank Girl, Hewlett and Martin. And I absolutely love the chaos and like power and like how obscene it is sometimes, but it's just like also just like that's how it is. And then it's like just unashamed, and I just like, I soak it up. I love it. It doesn't hurt that there's a strong woman lead in it, and I'm like, girl, I love it. I love it. I know like all the artists are kind of like different in their own way, but they kind of spoke to me in what I needed at the time, or what was really helpful to me, and I just kind of appreciate them for that and how it's affected my life.
Yeah, I can feel that. When you were talking about the second one and how they use like almost nature-ish, I've noticed that you kind of use that in your art also, like the nature aspect. As far as like, when you paint, I've noticed that you do a lot of flowers and like realism, almost not like realism, but like
yeah, I got you,
the nature aspect of it. And I can tell that you can probably really connect with that one.
Yeah, because it's just there. It's like a flower is so unconcerned with my day to day. Doesn't care at all. It's just there to be pretty and have life flow for as long as it can, and then it's like just kind of goes back into the ground, like feeds back into the ground for the next flower to come up or pollinate or whatever. It's just like there's a comfort in it for me too, to like surround myself with like a garden of sorts. Because like as a kid, I'd always like we'd go out to like aviaries, and there's a couple of places out in Canada which nobody's even gonna know. But it's like these beautiful little greenhouses, and we'd walk there. We used to live in a bush. We call it the bush. I guess it's like more of a forested area. And I would always pack my little backpack full of plastic tools and a little butterfly cage, just in case I found the mouse or something.
Right.
And I'd go out and I'd make little forts in like my my circle of flowers that I'd find, or I'd collect all the acorns and walnuts, and I'd feed them to the squirrels, I guess.
Yeah, make little like fairy gardens and foods.
Yeah, it's just like this is great for me. And I'm making fairy gardens and throwing nuts at squirrels and making sports out of fallen sticks. And it's like that. I think that's maybe part of the reason I kind of fall back to that sometimes, because it's familiar to me. It's something that feels comfortable.
Yeah, I totally get that. I'm notorious for flowers also. I just don't post any of my stuff. I'm more of a writer.
Good. I feel like that's an art too. I think that people appreciate that just as much.
It is. I do agree. It definitely. I think it comes in many, many forms, art. But
yeah,
like within you. But yeah, so I think that's all the questions I have.